Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, hanging out with you here where sports truly meets life. I want to thank you for being a part of the broadcast every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're here inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. You see that piping hot coffee ready to go, and I just said that's like somebody from Boston. Piping hot coffee. But the coffee's ready to go here this morning and every morning inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. With Cafe Cubal having multiple locations in Central New York, they are here for you and around the community, easy to get to. You can find them on 401 South Salina Street in the Salina Cafe, as well as 324 West Water Street for the Creek Walk Commons, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, 3501 James Street for the Eastwood Cafe, and their newest cafe, the Holly Green Cafe on 208 North Townsend Street, as well as the mobile cafe that will come to your community. You can find out where they're going next by going to @CafeCubal. That's @Cafe, K-U-B-A-L, on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll let you know where Cafe Cubal is going next with their mobile cafe, and you can order from them and have it delivered directly to your home. And if you live in Onondaga County, you do not pay a delivery fee. So plenty of ways to connect with Cafe Cubal, and I want to thank them for all they do here in the community of Central New York. So with that being said, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have two fantastic guests on the show today, and they are going to create a very unique experience, and that is the running back DuoCast. This running back DuoCast will be featuring first Rob Drummond and then Neal, as both of the running backs will be talking with you about the current state of Syracuse football. So you want to hear you want to hear about Syracuse football and what the opinions are of Syracuse football a couple games in. Who better to talk to than Syracuse alumni, and who better to speak with on the woes that are happening offensively than two offensive players that found a lot of success inside of Syracuse's offense, that being 2,500-plus yard rusher Neal and Robert Drummond, who's in history with Ernie Davis and Jim Brown with the best yards per carry for a career at Syracuse, in the top three for that, and on an undefeated Syracuse team back in 1987. So both backs will be joining the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in just a few minutes. Rob Drummond will be joining us at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll be joined by Neal. So once again, inside of MaandPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', you'll hear from Robert Drummond and Neal here on today's show in the running back DuoCast, getting their thoughts on Syracuse football straight from the alumni, straight from two successful backs in history. We'll talk about a lot of different things, what they think about running backs Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard opting out this season, as well as Syracuse's failure to trust in the run, which Neal was a part of. I mean, I think Neal could have been at least a 3,000-yard back at Syracuse, if not 3,500-yard back, the way his numbers were going, if they had trusted in the run a little bit more. And Rob Drummond had a lot of success with the run at Syracuse. So we'll talk about their take on the running backs that's opted out this season. We'll discuss trusting in the run. We'll discuss the offensive line, because obviously that has a big thing to do with the ability to run the ball. We'll talk about the quarterback situation and so much more, including the defense. And Neal was on the team last season, so he knows a lot of these guys, and a lot of these guys are his teammates. The Terrell Richards, as well as the Andre Siscos and the Trill Williams and the Afatu Melifonwus and so on and so forth were his teammates. So we'll discuss, what he thinks about how the defense is doing, as well as, both of them will give their thoughts on Dino Babers and the team as a whole. So a very, very awesome morning this morning with the running back DuoCast joining Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to have some fun and to give some thoughts on the current state of Syracuse football, as Syracuse is 0-2 in two games that looked very, very much could have been in the hands of Syracuse. And when we look at North Carolina, that was highly touted coming in to the season, And like I said, the ACC media as a whole chose North Carolina to finish third in our preseason poll that we have to put the predicted order of finish. And because there's no divisions this year, it's 1 through 15, and they had North Carolina at third, and I voted in the poll as well and was obviously included in those voting pieces, and I voted them third as well. So the media as a whole and myself think that North Carolina is going to finish in the top three in the ACC, and Syracuse played up against them, and North Carolina made mistakes. Syracuse did not capitalize offensively. Syracuse's defense had takeaways. Syracuse's offense did not capitalize. So we saw that in Game 1. In Game 2, Pittsburgh made mistakes. They missed 2 field goals and botched another field goal attempt. That's a potential 9 points right there, and Syracuse did not capitalize off of that. The defense had takeaways, and Syracuse did not capitalize on that. So, multiple weeks back-to-back, Syracuse's opposition is making mistakes, and Syracuse's defense is creating takeaways. Both of those things should be a perfect route, an almost perfect route, to 2 victories, but Syracuse ends up going 0-2, and obviously the inability to get anything going offensively is what has stunted this team in an 0-2 start to the season. Now they're going to be home for 3 games in a row. You would hope that that's going to pay off some dividends here, but Georgia Tech is coming off a win against FSU, and Georgia Tech does some things, and Jeff Collins is a guy that I had and I covered when he was at Temple for 2 seasons. So I've had Jeff Collins before. I appreciate and respect Jeff Collins and what he can do, and I don't think this game is going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. So a lot of stuff coming up for Syracuse. They've been beating the heck out of themselves and failing to capitalize, but this defense, this defense is a defense that I would draft in fantasy football. No joke. This is a defense I would draft in fantasy football because of everything that they do. The takeaways that they have and, the plays that they make. This is a defense that it should be respected, but probably isn't getting the respect it deserves, because when a team is losing and a team is playing some embarrassing football offensively, it overshadows what they do sometimes on the defensive side of it, and that's unfortunate. Syracuse is going to be home for 3 games in a row, like I said. They'll actually have 5 of 6 at home, 6 of 7 at home. They'll have 5 of 6 at home overall, and then they'll have 6 of 8 at home to finish off the season here, which is really great for Syracuse. Going to be home for 3, then at Clemson, home for 2, then at Louisville, then home against NC State before they face Notre Dame, the last game of the season for them in the regular season. So Georgia Tech coming up first on September 26th, this coming Saturday at noon. Then they'll play October 10th against Duke. So Syracuse will have a little break in the middle here, a much-needed break. The Orange will have on September 26th, like I said, they'll play, and then they will not play the week of October 3rd. They'll play October 10th against Duke, October 17th, right before my birthday, against Liberty. And on the weekend that the Big Ten will be returning to play, Syracuse will be on the road at Clemson. On Halloween, they'll be home against Wake Forest, because for some odd reason, Syracuse football and basketball has to always play on Halloween lately. So they'll be back to play Wake Forest. Then on November 7th, they'll play Boston College. Then they'll take another bye week, and when they come back, they'll play on Friday night, November 20th at Louisville. November 28th will be their final home game on a Saturday against NC State. And on December 5th, they'll play at Notre Dame, which is right before right before they do that, right before the ACC championship, I should say. So they'll be at Notre Dame, and if Notre Dame does what they're supposed to do, then that game on December 5th is going to be huge for Notre Dame to make a push for themselves to make it in the ACC championship game. So Syracuse is going to be a big part of Notre Dame's, jump and push toward the college football playoff, as well as toward the ACC championship. So that's going to be a big-time game. Greg saying, "Happy Monday, Dan." The Cafe Kubal sign, he loves it. With that coffee piping hot here, make sure you find your way to any of the Cafe Kubal locations this morning. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you their way, and I know that they'll appreciate it. I'll appreciate it, and my butt's getting over there to get myself some chai, because it's been cool these mornings, and I'm okay with that. I like when it's sunny outside, gets up to like the 60s. I'm good with that. I'm good with like 65, 67, sweatshirt, shorts, son, let's go. And I'll go there and get my chai tea, and it'll keep me all warm and toasty. So, and if you've never seen New Girl, you have no idea what that was. You just think it was a weird sound, but it's actually Damon Wayans Jr. when he hugs one of the blankets when he's leaving. He goes, So make sure that that you check that out if you think that if you have no idea what that was. I would suggest you check it out. If you have watched New Girl, well, then you watch good television, and I applaud you for that. So, like I said, a lot to get to today as Syracuse is coming off of another loss, a very winnable game. This game was 21-10. We got to talk about a lot of different things, including Dino Babers deciding to not call one of his 3 timeouts with 3:03 left to go. He had every single timeout, did not call a single one. It was 3rd and 3 for Pittsburgh, for the Pitt Panthers. So it's 3rd and 3. It's a big time 3rd down. There's 3:03 left on the clock. You do not call a timeout. You have 3 timeouts. It kind of looked like he gave up on his team. Kind of looked like he wanted to send a message. So we'll discuss that and so much more coming up right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Good morning to Alan as well. And I want to let you all know, as you see here in the corner, MonPazPopcorn.com always brings you what's poppin', which is the list of topics and guests for the day. If you go online to that website, MaandPazPopcorn.com, from anywhere you live, doesn't matter where you live, you could live in Syracuse or elsewhere, go to MaandPazPopcorn.com and use the online promo code DT20, that's DT20, and you will get yourself 20% off of any of your orders. You can have it for in-store pickup, or you can have it for delivery to your house. MaandPazPopcorn.com. Use the promo code. I got it for you. It's only mine. I'm sharing it with you. DT20, that's DT20. It's the Wake Up Call promo to get 20% off at MaandPazPopcorn.com. You will not be disappointed. If you've never had kettle corn, you're in for a treat. If you've had kettle corn, you've never had it like this. So make sure you go there today. With that being said, we're going to take a step aside for our first fast break of the show. When we come back, part 1 of our 2-part DuoCast today of running backs talking about Syracuse, Rob Drummond, right after this, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you being here, and we thank you so much. We hope you're having a tremendous morning this morning.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop CafeCabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT here. And for those of you that had a moment of silence there, that's because Rob and I get going off the air, and then we have to get on the air and have the conversation. But we're always talking with each other, having a good time. I hope you all are having a great time as well. Thank you, Ross, for saying great show to start every morning with. Appreciate you, brother, and start every morning with a cup of Joe from over at Cafe Kubal. You can go to cafekubal.com, home delivery, mobile cafe, and all of their cafe information is there for their 5 locations. You can also get it by going to the Central New York tab on wakeupcalldt.com. I'll be heading off to Cafe Kubal today. Head to the one closest to you as well, and we appreciate you heading over there. With that being said, this is called the Running Back DuoCast that we have this morning. I'm really, really excited about this, and I'm happy that we got to get this going. You know that both of these gentlemen are no stranger to the broadcast of Wake Up Call. Rob Drummond and I, I think in a DeLorean Back to the Future sense, we were born as brothers. He spent some time on the earth before I got here, then I came back and did our thing, but cut from the same cloth, and I appreciate this man so very much and a part of my family. So before anything else, it's family when I look at this, and to have him here on the show is always an honor and a privilege. And he always gives me, he always knocks me, I shouldn't say knocks me, but he always says something when I ask him how he's doing because we talk all the time. But I will bring him in and do the same thing as I always do because it's the way I intro. So, Mr. Rob Drummond, how are you?
Pretty good. Good morning, Dan. I just want to say hi, Mom, because I know your mom's watching the show because she always does.
Yeah, that's right. I love my mom so very much. And by the way, the video for her birthday that Rob was a part of, I didn't cut anything out. So the whole like, is this working? Is it on? Hi, Mom. I just want to make sure. Man, I don't understand any of this technology.
I don't.
I
rely on my children for that. I don't worry about the technological stuff. I let the boys figure it out, and I'll just go with what they say.
Yeah, I got to tell you though, like it was really awesome. The video came out great, and you were a big part of it. And it's funny because whenever my mom sees like a picture of you and she's around anybody or like that video or anything like that, she goes, "Oh, my Rob," and then she looks over her shoulder and she goes, "He loves me. He does."
I do.
So Rob Drummond here with us this morning, hanging out, and we have a lot to discuss. Rob, you know, Syracuse starts off the season 0-2. I know that you are an alum and that speaks about this team, that cares about these players every single season. Even though you played back in the late 80s, there is a love and a passion for all the players that come through here. You were born and raised in this community. There's a lot of different things that you and I have brought up. But to start it off broad scope, and just to put a paintbrush on this thing from your perspective, what can you say about these first 2 weeks?
It's frustrating. I mean, you get to a point as a former player, you know, as a Syracuse homegrown, you know, native, someone who's loved the orange since the day pretty much I was born. You expect in any sport advancement, you know what, and not to put it on Tommy DeVito, you know, because he's a competitor. He's going out there, he's trying. But there's no development from last year compared to this year. That doesn't fall on Tommy himself. That falls on the coaching staff. You know, you have to surround this man with athletes that put him in a position to be successful. And not to say that the wide receivers, Josh Harris, you know, and the crew around him, you know, granted, you had running backs that opted out, you know, which are Abdul Adams and Juwan Jordan, you know, which I understand, you know, I completely understand with COVID and everything going on, but, you know, that's still not an excuse. At this point in Baber's career at Syracuse, there should be more advancement, you know, more level of being, you know, at least being able to compete, and it's not there.
Yeah, you know, and that's been a frustrating part of things here is the reality that's, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that have gone on, but Abdul Adams, you know, was something that Babers wasn't really addressing and talking about through fall camp. But Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, the 1-2 punch for Syracuse, or the expected 1-2 punch for Syracuse, had opted out. And, you know, I mean, you and I have talked about this before, the cloud of secrecy that Syracuse has had. It kind of started a little bit under Doug Marrone, and it's continued now with Dino probably more than it's ever been. In this last decade plus, is we still have yet to meet, and it's kind of crazy. The media has never met the Syracuse Orange staff that is underneath Dino Babers. And I don't know if people know that, but we have never been able to physically meet the staff that Dino has on his team. None of his coaching staff have been able to meet with us, and that's a decision that was made by the university. So, clouded in secrecy, we don't get to meet the staff, we don't get to get around them. And then on top of that, when something happens, when a player is opting out, they don't say that either. And it's okay, well, it's a competitive advantage because, we don't want to let anybody know that they're not out there. But the reality of it all is they don't trust in the run enough. And, you want to prepare and you want to get ready. And I understand that coaches don't want to say things because they don't want anybody to have an advantage. But I would rather address it, say what's going on, build up the players that you have. There wasn't a lot of film out there of Jawar Jordan Jr. anyways. There was really nothing out there of Markenzie Pierre at Syracuse because he really didn't carry the ball a lot. But what can you talk about, when we talk about the cloud of secrecy and how Syracuse over these last few years has taken the notion that they have to hide everything and hide behind everything and nobody can see anything until the last possible second?
I mean, I find it ironic that, this cloud of secrecy among Syracuse, because the year we went 11-0, we didn't hide anything. The media was allowed to watch our practices. Granted, we had our game plan that was a secret. That was basically on Friday what we were going to go through. But everything else, it was all open. That's the difference between Coach Mack and the coaches that came after him. Coach Mack didn't try and hide anything and became a community team. Syracuse is not one of these big, huge, large cities that, they're trying to, compete with the Joneses. We're our own little small-knit community that takes local players and turns those local players into superstars. Chris Gedney, NFL player. Robert Drummond, myself, NFL player. Scott Swades, NFL player. Tim Green, NFL player. And I can go on and on and on. Will Allen, and it's just the name of local athletes that have gone on to shine at Syracuse because we played for the love, just not of the team of Syracuse, but for the love of our city. And that's what they're missing. And get back to your point. You said with Coach Babers, with this veil of secrecy, I've never met Dino Babers. That's crazy to me. I mean, I think if the first thing I would ever do if I was the head coach of Syracuse is, or even on the coaching staff of Syracuse, is get to know the community. I'd reach out to every single player I'd take the initiative to reach out to the players here. I wouldn't expect them to come sit here and come running to me. I take the time to tell my staff, reach out to them because I want to see what the vibe of the city is because they are the heart and soul of the city. And he doesn't get that because this is a stepping stone for him. And I'm not going to pull any punches with because at this point, I'm a legend at Syracuse. My journey there is done. I still will always love my Orange, still always support my Orange. But as far as the coaching staff and what I see going on up there, I want no part of it. And I stay away. That's why I actually became the football commissioner of the American Youth Football Conference here in Syracuse that just started this year because I wanted to show these kids that someone actually cares about the kids of Syracuse and wants to see them develop and go on, to be successful, not just in football, but in life. So if it takes me to be able to take time out of my day to be able to go out there and teach these young men and women of Syracuse to be better athletes and maybe not be recruited by Syracuse, I'll get you into a Rutgers or Michigan, or Indiana, or Colorado or some team that actually shows respect for the athletes here in Syracuse, and that's what really frustrates me about the current state of affairs at Syracuse University football program right now.
Yeah, speaking here with Rob Drummond this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and Rob, you're bringing up something that I think is going to shock people, and we've already gotten a message that came in here saying it's bizarre that like I said, I don't think that people know in the community that we can't watch practice, that the media is not allowed in.
It's insane to me, Dan. It really is. I mean, the one thing, even as a player on the field, we grew a rapport, a friendship with a lot of reporters because they were on the sideline, and then when we'd be on, the defense would be practicing and we'd have downtime and we'd be on the sideline and we would sit there and talk to, a Doug Logan on the sideline, who I had the greatest relationship with Doug Logan, because of that. You created friendship. So when things happen wrong or bad in the game, they don't sit there and say negative things about you because they have rapport. They know you. They'll say good things, and they'll what's the word I'm looking for? They'll just quell, what it is they're talking about, even if you made a bad play. But there is no more rapport with the athletes and the reporters right now because of this whole secrecy thing. What are you hiding, Syracuse? You're not good. That's no secret. You are not good. I mean, no one's shocked that I'm saying that. They're not good. Do they have talented players? Yes, they do. But are they good? Hell no, they're not. Let's call it what it is. They're not good.
Well, and the reality of it all, like you said, looking at these things and kind of what's been, going on with Syracuse, like you said, clouding themselves in secrecy, and what are they hiding?
What are they hiding?
We know, we see it on the field, and the reality of it all is, when I went to Jets camp, they, out in Cortland, and I covered them for 5 years there, they had said to us, hey, you can come here, we're going to have you come for practice for a couple hours, and then you're free to leave and go get something to eat, or you can, go upstairs and write your stories and then come back down for practice later on. But they kind of gave us a system. This is when, the coach is going to speak, which, was Rex Ryan, and, he's going to be out there, and you could go to the press conference, you could go out to this practice, you can go to this field, you could do this. When they said cameras down, you put the cameras down. When they said cameras up, you put the cameras up. And, if anybody broke the rules, they were asked to leave individually, not the entire group. And what is kind of crazy to me is that the people that break the rules are protected, and the people that follow the rules, myself, are I've seen little by little, kind of like somebody in the classroom puts their hand in the cookie jar, everybody gets slapped with a ruler, and the thing that's crazy to me is I'm still seeing people report practices, and we're not supposed to be there. So I'm sitting here going, are they allowed? Are they sneaking in? Is there some special rule? Because I haven't been able to see a genuine practice for Syracuse since Doug Marrone. None of that with Scott Schaefer, none of that with Dino. And I used to do this camp notebook. And in the spring and in the fall, I would write extensive notes every practice. My head would be in the notebook up. I was writing 4 pages, 7 pages, 5 pages, and then I was taking the time to put it all on my site and let everybody see it. And, this is what I saw. And I was telling you who the starters were going to be on the team well before they were named the starters. Darrell Eskridge was not regarded as really anything to a lot of people. Nobody was talking about it. And it was like, what's wrong with Dan Tortora? Why is he mentioning this guy? And then I said, okay, well, you know what? Just watch. And he ended up being a starter. He ended up going to the NFL. And, it's one of those things where I got to genuinely see the players that were growing. I saw the players that had a lot of hype that weren't doing anything with that hype. I saw a lot of players that had no hype that were doing a lot of great things with, the way that they were playing in practice. I saw that the only person that could stop a speedy Ashton Broyld in practice was Darrell Eskridge. And that's why I wrote about it. So, I'm just kind of floored by the fact that we haven't been allowed in. And then sometimes there's reports that come out from practice, which lets me know that somebody's being let in. But, it's been closed, it's been shut down, unless for these special circumstances and handshakes for the fakes and favors and whatnot. We don't get to see practice. And I think that, to me, how are you supposed to take a city who has little by little cared less and less about their football team and make them and get them to open up and care more if you're a team that's not winning, and then nobody's allowed to talk about you? So if nobody's talking about you, nobody knows any information about you, and you're not playing well, how does that create any type of success? I would think that now more than ever, they should want the media to be in there talking about them, covering them, saying good things about them, because on the field there's been a lot of not great things. So why wouldn't you want people in practice to help you to get to know the players and to really build a bond between the community and the players? Because there's no bond between the coaches and the community. There's no bond between the players and the community, and the team isn't winning, which is a recipe for me to not have any success. And even if they do, there's still no bond between the community and the players, which, to me it just doesn't make any sense.
I can make a profound statement in saying, because I know thousands upon thousands of people in the city of Syracuse. Syracuse is only but so small, only but so big, but I can guarantee you 95% of the people in the city of Syracuse couldn't name one of Dino Babers' coaching staff. I guarantee that I can't name one of Dino Babers' coaching staff. The only reason I know Dino Babers is because I know he's the head coach of Syracuse. He has no ties to the city of Syracuse at all. No one of his coaching staff does. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Back when I played and when Coach Pascaloni was a head coach, you could name the entire staff just about. Ivan Beers, Bill Maxwell, Clarence Brooks. You go on and on and on. You can name them all. We're a community team. What are they trying to hide, Dan? What? They're not good. Right. So what are you trying to hide? Wouldn't logic, common sense tell you, okay, we're struggling right now. Maybe we can get community help. Maybe we can get that motivation. Get our players to understand what it is to be a part of Syracuse, not just Syracuse University, but Syracuse, the city of Syracuse. And it can help us, give us some momentum, and give us some life. No, he doesn't. He tries to sit here and hide everything. Abdul Adams, you knew when the season was starting, this young man was opting out. So what are you hiding it for? You expect all of a sudden that it's going to go away? It's like I always tell my children. It's like, you know what? The only thing you do if you hire, or you don't reveal a mortal wound, is that you'll die lonely, or it's not going to get better. It's mortal. It's going to hurt you, and everyone's going to find out eventually anyway. We were going to find out eventually anyway. You're not good, so why not just reveal it early? So at least prepare us for it, that we know. Okay, you got these problems, and you got this problem, whatever it may be. But what are you trying to hide? You're hiding the inevitable. We're going to find out. Or you can't blame it on not having two running backs, because as a good coach, as a coach that's making $4+ million a year, you're supposed to be able to adapt to that. Change the scenario. Change your offense. As a coach that's making $4+ million a year, you're supposed to take a quarterback like Tommy DeVito, who struggled last year, he did, and make him better.
Yeah.
Hell, if I went with Tommy DeVito, just knowing the footwork, the dynamics, the psychology of the game, I can make him better. Right now, it's psychological with Tommy DeVito. It completely is. But they should know this. How is a bystander, someone sitting, granted, I have a huge background and a huge resume of professional sports and, just being good at football, being a personal trainer, but I could help that young man.
Yeah.
Because I see his, mechanically, he's way better than Rex Culpepper. He is. But right now, psychologically, he's in the tank. And it's not going to get any better. So you need to help this young man, but they're not. Because I've seen no progression from last year as opposed to these first two games. If players and coaches and media were allowed to be able to come to some of their practices and see, let a third eye help you. You don't know everything, and that's ego kicking in. A lot of these coaches have huge ego problems, and that's what gets them into trouble. And that's going to get Babers in a lot more trouble than he already is. I think he's in a sinking ship. That's that he can't plug that hole, because at this point, you can put Culpepper in, but it's just. Too much has happened, too much disassociation with the community, too much disassociation with former players, and it is what it is. As I said before, long after he's gone, you know what? I've lived through Marone, I'm still here. I've lived through Schaefer, I'm still here. I've lived through Robinson, I'm still here. Coach after coach after coach after coach after coach. I'm still a Syracuse University football legend. I'm still in this community doing things that make my community in Syracuse positive. I'm still a former Syracuse University athlete, and I'm still born and raised here in Syracuse. So nothing can take away from who I am, but they'll be long and gone. Once Babers fired from here, or he doesn't have a job anymore, you think he's staying here?
No.
No.
Absolutely.
Not a chance. Not a chance in hell. He's out. This is a stepping stone. And it is what it is.
That coming from Rob Drummond here this morning, Syracuse Orange football running back alum. Speaking on the current state of Syracuse football, and Rob, you bring up something we've been talking about it. This secrecy, right? And this, don't talk about it. And it's like, why not talk about it? That's my job. I'm supposed to sit here and been hindered from my ability to do my job for how many years? And I'm supposed to just not tell anybody, oh, yeah, I go to practice all the time and just never talk about it. I mean, it's no, and people should know that. We're allowed to go to practice for the first 10 minutes, so we see the team jog out. We may see them do a jumping jack or two, and that's your job. I said, why would I drive 20 minutes in, see 10 minutes of practice, drive 20 minutes out, then drive back again to conduct interviews? That is a total waste of time. I see nothing but them stretching. You don't get to see anything about anything, and it doesn't make any sense. And the one thing that I kind of thought was laughable last season was when they put out it was a bye week for Syracuse. and they put out a thing and they said, high schools, get ready in Central New York because we've sent out our minions, we've sent out our coaching staff, and our assistant coaches are coming to your games. And no, they're not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. Because if they were, you would have told me. If they were, then Joe Corley at West Jenny would have told me. And, I would have heard it from Casey Brown at CBA.
They have no interest in local athletes. None.
Dave Klein and we would have talked about it at CNS because his players are getting opportunities all over the country. His quarterback's got an opportunity. J.J. Razmovsky's got something. Offensive lineman Max White. Mike Washington Jr., 17 offers, and he's going to Buffalo.
I'll put it this way. If I had been a high school athlete under the Babers reign right now, I wouldn't have been recruited by Syracuse.
Yeah,
crazy to think about, huh?
They would have lost a guy who's in the top 3 for yards per carry. Yeah,
I would have been just like Stevie Scott, and I would have went someplace else. I would have went to Penn State. Think about that. I wouldn't have been recruited by Syracuse, and I would have went to Penn State.
Syracuse would have lost if.
They would have probably lost Schrade's. They would have probably lost
Tim Green.
They would have probably lost Gedney. They would have probably lost Will Allen.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But as I always say, my favorite saying, it is what it is. People are going to do what they want to do for their own personal benefits or whatever it may be. I don't know Dino Wavers. Never met him before, Maybe he thinks he's doing a great job. At the end of the day, he gets a paycheck, but what's the aftermath of it? The 0-2 Syracuse start with the offense looking, holy smokes.
The reality, there's a few things here, Rob. One of them is the fact that he's been the coach for this is his 5th season. That he's been the coach for, and you've never ever met him. There's been and I've talked to people about that before because we know that certain schools like Tennessee has their alumni, and they have them. They bring them through like the VIP area. They have them on the field, and then the players that are on the team currently, instead of the players running out of the tunnel, the players line both sides of the field. And the former players run out of the tunnel.
It's respect.
Right. So they do that. I mean, we see what places like Florida State do, and like all these schools around the country that are paying homage back to, or homage, however people say it, but paying homage back to these players and the people that helped to build their program. It's funny how your team that is the last undefeated team, your team that helped to build this success, build this program that should have built recruiting and built so many things for years to come, that your team is completely disregarded. And one thing that I don't understand is when the 90s team came back of like 55, 56 players recently here, we saw that, Rob Conrad and Donovan McNabb and these guys were coming back into town, and they felt like they were getting the love. And it was right after you guys had your 30-year anniversary here recently, and you got almost no love for it. And I remember that Syracuse had said to you when you were all in the tunnel, and I was actually talking about this recently, I was like, my guy Rob's a savage. And I said, he doesn't pull any punches. And when they said it's good to have you back, you said that you looked at Syracuse's communications and you said, it's about damn time. And then people don't know this. When they celebrated your team of the 30-year anniversary of you, they didn't celebrate the 10-year anniversary or the 20-year anniversary of you guys being undefeated. But on your 30-year anniversary, they celebrated you by bringing you out in Syracuse to the field and then made you sit behind the visitors' bench and then blocked you from coming into the 44 Ernie Davis room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go figure. That's love, right? That's why, honestly, I'll be honest. That's why I really don't do anything with Syracuse anymore. I watch the game from my home, from my distance, and I stay away. If they want to be like that, I have no problem being like that also. I still talk to the players. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I always support the players. I mean, I'm a Syracuse Orangeman through and through. I mean, I bleed orange.
Yeah.
But as far as the organization and what I see going on up there, I want no part of it. And I want, even being, as I said before, the football commissioner now of a league now where I can have my hands in the grassroots of developing these young kids, I promise you this. These kids are 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 years old. There are at least 5 kids. Remember when I said this? There are 5 kids, and I'll talk to you about this at another time. There are at least 5 kids that will easily be Division I college athletes with my tutelage. Easily. There's a kid, he's at least about 6 foot, about 250, 260 pounds. He's a 12-year-old kid. some of the quickest feet, the quickest hands. He's aggressive and everything. I was like, you know what, young man, you're going to be good one day. There are about 2 or 3 running backs, athlete types that are just some of the most athletic kids you've ever seen. And I've been like, wow, it's going to be fun to train these kids over the years. It really is. With me helping these young men, being their mentor and showing them the right way to do it.
Yeah.
From the 15 years that that I've had in professional sport, from the 30+ years that I've had as a personal trainer, I will turn these kids into great young athletes. And great young men also, but great young athletes. And at the end of the day, I will tell them, even if they want to go to Syracuse, I'm gonna tell them this is a better fit. Syracuse doesn't. I mean, hopefully by that time it will have changed. But I'll say, Syracuse is not a good fit for you because you're not a good fit for them because they don't recruit local athletes. They don't. Name it. You can, but I have a challenge for your listeners. Name a local athlete at Syracuse.
Yeah.
I know you can. Name a local athlete in Syracuse. Name a local athlete in Syracuse with reverence. Like a Scott Spreedies or myself or Tim Green or Will Allen. Or it's crazy to me. I mean, it's just, are you kidding me? I mean, if you want to keep the local people interested when you're doing bad, have a local athlete that you can defer things to that can put out the fire in a storm.
Well, the
They
thing
don't.
that's crazy is, we look back to it, and really the last notable local players that Syracuse had brought in, you look at, you look at the punters, you look at, and you look at Mackey and Cam McPherson, who, their grandfather was your coach. So, you know what I mean? So if their grandfather wasn't your coach, would they have ever been recruited? You know what I mean? So there's a question, and that's not a knock to them. That's a knock to Syracuse for not seeing them for the talent that they are, and whatnot. And maybe Marone did. Who knows? But
He didn't. He didn't. I'm not a big fan of that guy, so I'll put that out there.
And he was your offensive lineman. People need to know that. He was actually when he was a senior, you were a freshman.
Yeah, I'm not a big Marone fan. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Well, and I think the reality is that he wasn't a team player, and there was
he's all about himself.
Yeah,
he's very into Doug Marone.
And and that's the thing is, like, how have people not seen that in Buffalo, not seen that in Jacksonville and whatnot? But the reality of it all is there not being any connection between the people that had success, like yourself, and Dino not reaching out to you guys. He has you down the street. You're at for God's sakes, let's paint this picture even more so. Rob trains out in the Fayetteville Manlius area. Rob trains FM as well as athletes from all over upstate and central New York.
Yeah.
FM, right up the road from where Rob is training, had Eric Coley. Eric Coley is the stepson of Vincent Reynolds. Vincent Reynolds is an assistant coach on Dino Babers' staff. So Rob is literally right there where Eric Coley was playing, which could have connected you to Vincent, which could have connected you to Dino, which would have really made something, and it's not like you weren't around FM at the time. So, that to me, that picture...
Eric's like a son to me also, Dan. That's how close I am with Eric. Eric's one of Raphael's best friends.
So
I'm not close with Eric, but not the coaching staff or anything. He knows it, and he sees it.
And that's the thing, though, is like when a player on Syracuse's team, like Eric Coley, has a connection directly, personally, to an assistant coach and to all of that, and he's close to your family, but the staff isn't close to your family, and he knows that the staff has never spoken to you or your family. He's got to kind of take that back home to Dad and go, what are we doing out here?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because, FM welcomed Eric in with open arms. Yeah. So it's very strange to me. It doesn't make any sense. And as we look at this, season and whatnot, and we talk about, Dino and his connection here. Listen, I have a good relationship with Dino. I have a good working relationship with him. I get to ask him questions, this, that, and whatever. We talk about different things. I respect the people that he's brought in some really talented guys, and I've seen a lot of great stuff with that. But I also ask the questions, and I should ask the questions because I care about the kids here. And I asked Mike Washington Jr., and we talked about it. We addressed it here on the show.
Why is he not at here? One question, not to cut you off. Why is he not at Syracuse?
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is I talked to him about it, and I said, has the staff talked to you? And he said, yeah, Mike Lynch, the running backs coach, he told me he watched my film, and I said, well, what did he say? He said, keep working, young man. And then he's getting offer after offer after offer. I said, did they talk to you? Not really. And I said, and they never offered you? No. But they saw all these other They saw all these other D1A FBS schools offer you. Yeah. And they saw that these teams were getting after you. And when Corona started, it just kept upticking for you, and more offers came in. And I said to him, because I wanted to see, if he would actually say it, because I believe it. I said, Mike, did they make a mistake? And he said, I believe so. He said, I think when all is said and done, Syracuse is going to realize that it was a mistake to not bring me in.
A huge mistake. Dan, back again, I'll go back to the Coach Pack era. By my sophomore year, Syracuse is showing crazy interest in me. So much so where they couldn't say it back there because it was legal, telling me that just to enjoy my next 2 years of college, I have a scholarship offer to Syracuse. When I'm able to sign. They reassured me of that, which inspired me to go out there and work even harder.
Yeah.
It wasn't all this keep working hard. We seen film on you. All this him and hawing. They weren't him and hawing. They basically told me to keep working harder, young man. We think you're talented enough to you have a scholarship offer. They can't say it, but in so many words, I understood that. So it allowed me as an athlete to relax and go out there and bust my behind. They don't do that at Syracuse. It's just like you say there with Mike Washington Jr. Excuse me. They didn't assure him that he was talented enough to be on that squad. And it's like, are you kidding me? So I'm going to go someplace else. I'm going to go someplace where someone wants me.
Yeah. And the thing is, we look at this, and again, he's going to Buffalo. And so I mean, it's Buffalo again. Buffalo's out recruiting Syracuse, but
according to the media, Buffalo's the best Division I college football team in the state of New York.
Well, and who's going to knock? I mean, they had Khalil Mack. They've brought talent there before.
Can't knock them. Hey.
And the reality of it all is when you look at this, and you look at you say if Syracuse just in Central and Upstate New York, Chandler Jones, Arthur Jones, right down there in Maine Endwell. Okay, so the Union Endicott, Maine Endwell area. You got that talent there. You have yourself. You have Scott Schwades. You have Will Allen. You have Latavius Murray. You have Dorsey Levens. You have Stevie Scott. You have Mike Washington Jr. You have Mackie McPherson. You have Mike Hart. You have Cam McPherson. You have Tyler Rouse. You have Tyler Days. You have Noah Jordan Williams, and on and on and on and on and on. And it's like if people took a step back and really looked at this, because what I hear from some people, and maybe not so much now, and maybe because we've talked about it, but what I hear from people is the reality, that they believe. They're like, okay, well, maybe the talent in Syracuse, maybe the talent at these schools isn't good enough. Maybe Central and Upstate New York, these kids, they're not tall enough, they're not big enough. I was like, what do you think? Do you think that in Syracuse, New York, people don't get taller? Like there's something in the air where nobody's tall or nobody's muscular or nobody's that. Like that doesn't make any logical sense. I said the day that Nick Saban comes up from Alabama, gets off a plane at Syracuse Hancock International Airport, and takes an offensive lineman from Syracuse or a wide receiver or somebody from Syracuse, maybe that'll finally smack somebody across the face, But
Trent Patterson out of Henniger went to Alabama as an offensive lineman.
But
Trent's a very good friend of mine.
Right, it's like if that happens over and over again, if Florida comes up and does it, I mean, the reality of it all is why do these kids have to suffer? And the thing that I told people I can't stand more than anything is that when some of these kids are getting recruited, I've gotten phone calls from coaches, D1A FBS coaches, that have said to me, hey, Dan, we gave an offer to such and such. And I said, oh, okay, great. And I'm talking highly about the kid, this, that, whatever. And they're like, hey, am I missing something? And I said, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, Syracuse isn't recruiting this kid, and they didn't offer this kid. Is there something about his character? Is there something wrong with him? And they start thinking in their head, if Syracuse doesn't want him, why should we? There's got to be something wrong with him. And I was like, and I told one of the coaches, I said, the hell if I'm going to let Syracuse hit this kid twice. They're not recruiting him as number one. That's the first hit. Number two is I'm not going to let you not recruit them when you want to recruit them because you think that there's something wrong with this kid. I said there's not anything wrong with this kid. It's something wrong with Syracuse.
Yep.
And it's been that way. And the thing that like really hit me was that you and I have talked about Syracuse affecting these kids by not recruiting them, and then, you know, what that looks like to the rest of the country, that the school down the road from you isn't recruiting you. And when I finally heard that from a coach, I had to make it clear to them. I said, this is not a kid problem. This is not a Central New York problem. This is a Syracuse problem. And these kids deserve to be recruited by you, and they should be loved by you, and they should be appreciated by you. And I'm so honored that they're getting offers and opportunities. But, I mean, it's, what are you doing? I mean, Syracuse, when you spurn these kids, when you kick these kids to the curb, when you ignore them, when you don't come to the games, when you don't care about them, they see that and they know that. And not only will they never play for you, but you could affect them connecting with my business, with Rob's business, with all of us, because they might be so pissed off at Syracuse University that they connect at the Syracuse, New York, and they never come back.
Trust me, they already are.
And that's the thing that's hitting me is our community is taking a punch because the university is out there throwing, you know, trying to drop bows on them, and it's affecting all of us, because if you piss off these kids and you piss off their parents and you make them feel like they're not wanted and they're not needed and they're not necessary, then they don't come back here to build families. They don't come back here to build businesses, and ultimately Central and Upstate New York suffers economically, suffers socially, suffers historically, because these kids don't want to be here, and they don't want their kids to be here to go through the same thing.
But here's the thing, Dan.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, I mean, like, what does Baber care about that? He's not staying here.
I know.
When his tenure here is done, he's out. Schaefer was gone. You know, Marone was gone. You know, Robinson's gone. You know, these coaches don't care. They're not. You know, family oriented. They're not community oriented teams. You know, Coach Mack stayed here when he came back from New England. He moved back here. This is his home. None of those coaches are moving back here. And that's the difference. That's the difference between the way Coach Mack was and every other coach that came after him, besides Pascaloni, who's still coaching. God bless him. You know, a great guy.
That man's going to coach till he's 110 years old.
He probably will. Great guy. Love him to death. You know, he so much tutelage. He was a linebackers coach, but he just taught me so much about understanding the game of football. The Babers needs to understand what it takes to be a part of the community of Syracuse in order to. No one's saying you have to offer them scholarship, but at least show interest. At least show them that you care. You know, at least show, I mean, like me, like, give me a call, blah, 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 Robert, you can go to a few of these games. I'd love to help Syracuse in any way I could. I would go to these games, and tell, you know, even as a personal trainer. I understand movement. I understand athletic ability. I'm not going to sit there and tell you a kid is a D1 talent when he's not. Could he develop, possibly become a great player? Yes, he could. But if he doesn't have the speed, the explosiveness, you know, the loose hips, there's so many intangibles it takes to be a next great athlete. I'm telling you, it fell into my lap being able to be the commissioner of this new league. I get there to understand athletes. I watch them move. I watch movement, and I can tell you need to work on this. These 5 kids, I'm telling you, are super talented. They're talented at an early age. They need to learn discipline. They need to learn hard work. You know, they need to be humble. All that stuff, I can teach them, and they will get better. Will it transfer to a Division I athlete? For at least 3 of them, yes, because they're special talents. Special talents. I can't go home with them, and by that I mean their home life will affect them also in their development. You know, and that's with anybody. That's with any child. A child could be okay at school, but then once they go back home, they could have a bad home life. These children could have bad home life, but I'm going to try and be a buffer, you know, for the few hours a day I see them, you know, and trying to make them successful. And that's what I want to do. I almost said to myself, it's like, you know, Robert, you, and this is just me talking to myself, you know, it's not talking to myself in the third person and things of that nature. It's just me just trying to be honest and real with myself, you know, because I was blessed. You know, I was given a gift by God to be able to go out there and play Division I college football, you know, get a college degree, parlay that into playing professional sports for as long as I want. So for 15 years, as long as I wanted to do. But, you know, it was just something when you, and I tell kids all the time, when you love to do something that when you do something that you love to do, you never work a day in your life because you love it. Yeah. It's not work. It's fun. It is, you know, and I want to be able to develop these young athletes and not just great athletes, but great young men.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is what you're doing and what I'm trying to do here on the show and what you're trying to do. I mean, Rob, essentially, I think what you and I should do, and I'm gonna say this. I mean, I know you and I could talk about this off the air, but I think you and I should start doing kind of tandem things and events where I'm broadcasting something and I'm interviewing the kids, and then you're training them. I think we should do something where we're kind of double dose, and when we can get people back in communities from Corona and this, that, and whatever, I feel that you and I should maybe start having some of these banquets, maybe start having some of these dinners and whatnot to honor the kids. I get to speak with them, we get to do some things about them, maybe we could tell some stories, they could tell some stories, we can show everybody raps and whatnot. But you're trying to do it on the field, you're trying to do it on the court, you're trying to do it with all of these sports. It doesn't matter, if they're track and field or they're football or basketball or baseball or softball or field hockey, it doesn't matter. And you're doing all of that. And then on my side of it, I'm saying, let's do this. And parents in the community and people in the community are going, I saw your CBA thing, I saw your CNS thing. Would you be open to Beeville? And I'm like, the answer is always yes. I was like, I know Carl Sanfilippo, we've talked. So, I mean, and I've done events with Beeville, and I've covered them before.
I played against Coach Sanfilippo.
Well, and he's a hell of a person.
He is.
So it's like when you look at,
he's old school.
He is, and that's what I love about him, because he's like Paul Pasqualoni. But the reality of it all, Rob, is it's kind of, I mean, it's not said the same way, but I go back to the Robin Williams movie RV, where he talks to his son, and he's like, we'll get them together. You get them high, and I'll get them low. And and Rob's 6'14", and I'm what are you, Rob? 6'4"?
6'4".
6. Okay, so Rob's 6'4", I'm 5'8". So Rob will get him high, I'll get him low. But the reality of it all is, I think that you and I, for as much as we do and as many conversations as we have in the pregame and the postgame shows, I think that you and I should start doing these localized events where I bring my talents, you bring your talents, they bring their talents, and we just start promoting even more so the heck out of them and putting them out there, because I trust that you and I can do something with this, and these kids are fantastic. So why don't you and I go one step further and start doing maybe some of these event-based things when we can, and and put these kids out there and let somebody see them that's going to appreciate them.
I mean, I completely agree. It's just even at a few of the football games. Granted, they were flag football games because they can't have contact in New York as of yet. They can next week. But my 8-year-old, one of the 8-year-old kids that I trained, Rashard, great kid. I've been training him now for months. Just in the game of football, he threw for 6 touchdown passes, and every intangible that I had been teaching him for the last few months, he went out there. He went out there and did. He was a leader. He put the kids in the right position. He was a complete leader. He's one of the younger kids on the team, but he just had that, just the knowledge that I gave him. And I'm like, and then he came after. He's like, Coach Drummond, I had a pretty good game, huh? I was like, young man, you had an unbelievable game. You're only going to get better. And just a smile on his face. And his father was like, his mother and father came in to me and was like, Robert, thank you. I was like, for what? He was like, just giving him the confidence, and the belief in himself to be able to go out there, and just do what he loves to do. I was like, that's why I do this. My son, in the 10U, which is the 10-year-old division, Quasi, my younger kid, he's an athlete, but he plays quarterback. And there was one play. I mean, they played on Sunday yesterday, but on Saturday I was working with him. And I was working on him because he's a free safety also, and I was working on him with some free safety drills. And I remember just watching him playing in his game, and he was backpedaling and he made a break for the ball. And I'm like, and I said to myself, why is he breaking for the ball like that? And then I looked back at the quarterback, and the quarterback had opened up his shoulders and turned his hips and started to throw it that way. And that's exactly what I taught him. And I was like, you know what, young man, you listen, don't you? And like, well, because I'm allowed to stand on the sidelines. When he walked to the sideline, I asked him, it's like, you listen, don't you? He's like, Coach Drummond, I was just doing what you taught me to do. And he scored, he threw for 2 touchdowns, he ran for 1, and he caught another. This development, the nurturing, the caring, that when you show these young kids you care, you show up, you do things to help them, they become great athletes, then you bring them to Syracuse. Now the whole community can come watch one of our own.
And somebody that you've been training and I've been talking about for a year. You know what I mean? It's like, if I start talking about the kid at 8, and you start training him at
I want you to interview him, this young man, right now. I really do. I was thinking about that the other day. What a great opportunity, for Wake Up Call to interview an 8-year-old kid, who's under my tutelage, who, I can be there with him, I can, but he's a great young man. Get to know him, because you will hear about him in the future. You will hear about Quasi in the future. Momo LeClaire, basketball player, headed to Drexel from SU. Tanner Burns, a lacrosse player I trained, headed to Brown, out of JD. Johnny Kibe, a lacrosse player, headed to Yale. These are great young kids. And I'm like, it's frustrating sometimes, What is Syracuse doing?
Well, and the reality of it all is, it's like there is talent that Syracuse is finding, but at the end of the day, 4-8 looks like what Syracuse had before. Going to a bowl game and then not going to a bowl game looks like what Syracuse had before. You know what I mean?
4-8. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm saying that under Dino 4-8, 10-3, 5-7. Go back to Schaefer 4-8 years. Go back to Marone, good year, bad year, good year, bad year. So, the reality of it all is not recruiting local talent. I mean, we talked about it before. What's the definition of insanity? You're not winning with the players from all over the country. So if you had some local players and you're still losing, here's the crazy thing. They'd still be there'd still be butts in the seats. There'd still be fans and people that are going to be there because it's your community. And if you've seen this kid grow up, and you don't even have to be the parent. If you're at CNS and you're watching the games and you see Mike Washington, all the parents know Mike Washington. The teachers know Mike Washington. The coaching staff knows Mike Washington. So when Mike Washington goes and plays at Syracuse, hypothetically, then you see all these people. You see everybody that goes to a CNS game. They're all going to the Syracuse football game. You know what I mean?
They're going to watch their local kid. Yes,
right, and even other schools and other coaches, they're going. I coached against that kid. He's a hell of a kid. I'm going to go see him at the Dome. So, because after he finishes up in high school, now everybody can be a fan. You're not going against him anymore. Now he's for Syracuse, and now he's representing us all. And it's just crazy to me because all these schools that I cover, they recruit locally, that I know of. I mean, they all talk about Carolina, that are in Carolina, and they talk about, if they're in North or South. They talk about Florida if they're in Florida. They talk about Texas if they're in Texas. But before I let you go, Rob, I want to look at these first 2 weeks. It's obviously the offense. It's obviously the O-line. It's obviously the decision-making of the quarterback. It's obviously, the lack of committing to... I mean, this is the thing, too, and Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, whether they opted out or not, the reality is they were going to get like 5 carries a game. Syracuse doesn't commit to the run.
No,
so, you know what I mean? So everybody freaking out like, Syracuse is 0-2 because they don't have Abdul. No, they're not 0-2 because they don't have the running backs. If they were on the team, they wouldn't have been running. And mark my words, this is a gut feeling. I have not talked to Jarvion. I have not talked to Abdul about this. This is just a gut feeling. I would not be surprised by any stretch of the imagination if they're in the transfer portal after the season.
Oh, I wouldn't. I wouldn't blame them. I would be.
But there's just some gut. There's something that I have on this that goes a lot deeper than them just sitting out this season.
I completely agree. I mean, as a player trying to get to that next level, because all players dream about going to the NFL or the next level, I guarantee. I'm almost 100% sure they're going to transfer. I would.
So we look at this, but on the defensive side of the ball, Rob,
they're playing great.
They have created so many opportunities. We are seeing Andre Cisco. He leads the nation. 13 career interceptions, the active leader in FBS Division 1A of 130 schools. He gets an interception the first game of the season. Mikel Jones, linebacker, who has to start as the linebackers have finished eligibility at Syracuse in these last 2 or 3 seasons. It keeps rotating. He rotates in, becomes a starter, gets his first career interception in Game 1 of this season, gets his second career interception in Game 2 of this season. And, so we're looking at great things coming from him. We're looking at, harassing the quarterback, Josh Black, as well as Kingsley Jonathan and company. Trill Williams, North Carolina didn't even really test his side of the field. So there's, Ifeatu Melifonwu and on and on and on. Syracuse's defense, to me, this defense that had and I'm not even saying they had great offense. If they had an offense that was 51%, like just above the equator line, if they had an offense that was a little bit more than okay, I still think they'd be 2-0.
their defense is playing lights out. They're playing amazing right now. But the thing about football is, though, it's easier for defense to come together first than offense. It takes offense a little bit to get going. But Syracuse's offense is a train wreck right now. But that defense is playing well. I feel you can't say you really feel bad for them because it's a team sport. But if I had the pride you must have as an offensive player has to step up because you have to help those guys out on defense because they're doing their job. Now you have to do your job. But you know what? The only thing these young men can learn is from what? Coaching. Yeah. It all falls down to the coaches. They can only do what they're taught. You know what? So and that's not just me saying it. That's a saying throughout the industry. You know what? We can only do what we're taught, coach. If you're not teaching us the right way to do it, then who's it fall on? It doesn't fall on us. We're doing what we're taught. That falls on the coaching staff. And $4+ million a year, you should have a better game plan going into not just practices but games also.
Well, and the thing is after seeing this offense again, we asked the question, bring it full circle. Why is the media not allowed to see practice when this offense with a new offensive coordinator looks the same as last year, if not worse? So, I mean, it doesn't look like the offensive line has gotten better. It doesn't look like Tommy DeVito's gotten more comfortable. And the thing with DeVito, and I talked, and I've said this plenty of times, and you said it when you were assessing it, and we're seeing eye to eye on this, is it's a mental thing. This is a mental thing. I'm wondering about his vision. I'm wondering about his comfortability. But it's not like Tommy isn't talented. It's not like he can't throw the ball down the field. It's not
He's super talented.
Right, but to me, there's something to be said about the big difference between stepping in for Eric Dungy, knowing you're not the starter, and then being the guy, and being the guy in an offense. And listen, Orange is the new fast, not with Tommy DeVito. That's not his game. And so, it's like I would rather see him in a pro style, set up, relax, get in the huddle, figure things out, run the ball, use the clock, throw to the outside receiver, get out of bounds, get some positioning. I see him as a systematic quarterback in that respect. I don't see him as an Orange is the new fast quarterback.
If he went to a pro style offense, he'd be a superstar.
Right, and that's what I'm seeing, and it's like you're supposed to play to the strengths of your players.
Correct.
And you bring in a new offensive coordinator, and you highly tout Sterling Gilbert, but the offense looks exact. I mean, again, like you said, who knows any of the names? Who in the community on average knows any of the names of the assistant coaches, or even knows them on a personal level? You know what I mean? It's like if you didn't tell anybody that the offensive coordinator changed, they wouldn't know from watching the game that they changed. No. And that's an issue. It's like you get rid of Sean Lewis goes to Kent State, and so he's gone. Then you move around your offense at this, and you move this guy in and out, and this, that Mike Lynch becomes running back. You bring in Sterling Gilbert, and it looks exactly the same. The defense looks better. Shout out to Tony White in the 3-3-5. But again, you're playing to your strengths. Your strengths are on the. Not that there's not good defensive linemen and linebackers, but the strongest point of Syracuse's defense, arguably right now, in my opinion, are their DBs.
Secondary.
So you're playing to the strength by going to a 3-3-5. 5 in the back end. You're trusting them more than anybody else, and it's working. But on the offensive side of it, you don't run the ball, and, it's like, and people want to sit here and you want to blame Chris Elmore. Chris Elmore has played fullback, he's played tight end, he's played offensive line. Get off the man's jock and leave him alone, because he's doing, again, what the coaching staff is asking him to do. But, you have to be prepared and you have to recruit. Chris Blake, he doesn't get from Florida. He doesn't get his waiver accepted to play this season. You can't boo-hoo that. Abdul Adams opts out. Jarvion Howard opts out. You can't boo-hoo that. You have Evan Adams, who was, grandpa on the O-line, go off to the Baltimore Ravens. You can't boo-hoo that. The reality of it all is you have to be set up for years in advance. Why is Clemson successful when they lose their entire defensive line? Because they have backups for that. Why is Alabama successful when their starting quarterback transfers out? Because they have backups for that. So when Syracuse sits, you can't sit here and say, well, our offensive line. No, the offensive line looks like it did last year. You've given up 14 sacks in 2 weeks. That is disgusting. Some teams don't give up 14 sacks in a season plus a bowl game. They don't give up 14 sacks. And, you look at this and you say, who is training them? What are they training? What are they teaching? What are they doing? Because I'm sure Aaron Service, who's been there for a while, I'm sure he's pissed off. I'm sure he's shaking his head going, we got to be better than this. And he knows, how the heck am I supposed to get to the NFL on an O-line like this? Because what team is going to look at a player of the 32 NFL franchises, what team is going to come to Syracuse and recruit an offensive lineman on this offensive line? And that's what Evan Adams had to deal with, and he went undrafted. And that's, unfortunately, I think what Aaron Service is going to have to deal with, and that man's talented. So, I mean, it's frustrating.
Tell me about it.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And, it is. I mean, you look at this defense, and, I mean, Rob, North Carolina gave Syracuse chances, and the defense gave them chances. Pittsburgh screwed up.
Yeah.
2 missed field goals and a botched field goal, and gave Syracuse chances. So it's not like the other teams aren't making blunders, and it's not like the defense isn't doing well. And how many times did you play in a game where the other team made mistakes, your defense took care of business, and you didn't win the game? A good offense takes advantage of them screwing up and your defense doing well.
Not many. I said my last 2 years we were 11-0-1 and 10-2. So, hey.
But I mean, normally that's a perfect recipe for success when the other team's screwing up and your defense is giving you extra possessions.
Yes.
Normally that is the perfect for a little bit above average offense to march down the field and do what they need to do. Last point, Rob, before we finish things up for the day and get ready for Neal. 3 minutes and 3 seconds left. 3 timeouts. 3rd and 3. Defending Pittsburgh. Dino does not call a single timeout. He lets them have they had the ball the last 4 minutes and 16 seconds of the game. He lets them have it. And down by 11. Arguably, Syracuse with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left with, I know the defense gets gassed toward the end because they've been on the field the whole freaking game, and they were on the field for 34 and a half minutes, as opposed to the 25 and a half minutes that Syracuse's offense is on the field in the game. But 3 minutes and 3 seconds left, 3 timeouts, 3rd and 3. Dino does not call a timeout. Would have had 1 possession, if not 2 possessions. Down by 11, could have won this game. What does that show you?
You want my opinion, or you want the truth?
I only want the truth, which you always say, which is your opinion.
It's the same thing, because all I ever give is the truth.
Exactly.
I mean, he quit on the team. Bottom line, in all my years of football, that's quitting. You have no confidence in your team. That's quitting on your team. You fight. I mean, when you have a chance, you always fight. You always fight, no matter what. You always fight. You call a timeout. If they get the first down, so be it. But you gave your team the opportunity and a chance to at least win or show them that you got enough respect for them to go into battle. He didn't. It says a lot about me to him. Or a lot about him to me, excuse me. It does.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to lose, you lose with dignity. You lose fighting. You don't lose laying down.
You can stop the clock, and you chose not to stop the clock to give your team an opportunity. Nah, bro, you quit. Nah, you quit. Coach Mack would have never done that. Never. In a million years. He gave us the opportunity to go out there as men, and try and win this game. You let the clock run out. Come on, man. Nah. And you left timeouts out there? Nah.
And that's the thing, like you said, it says a lot. And to me, I thought it was going to happen sooner, but to me it says that unless he goes during the season, it says that probably this is the last I can't imagine Dino Babers in year 6 at Syracuse after doing something like that.
I mean, as long as he's there, I'm done. I mean, I always support the players, but it's just why watch a game where I know what the outcome's going to be. An inept offense, a great defense to go out there and make plays, but they won't do enough, and they'll just get out coached. They've been out coached the last 2 games easily, as if they're high school coaches. It's like, holy smokes! At some point, wake up. I understand you pay this man a certain amount of money, but you should have realized. I could have told you that's who he was after his first 2 years. But you want to extend his contract after 1 good year when a lot of things fell to the wayside for him having a good year like that? I mean, Florida State had a down year. They upset Clemson. Great, but but they weren't a dominant team though. It wasn't like the '87 team. The '87 team was a dominant team. Look at the draft picks we had there. Look at the draft picks they had from that team. None.
Yeah.
I mean, at least from the '87 team we had draft picks. '88 team we had draft picks, high draft picks. First round, second round, third round, fourth round, 5th round. They had none. It is what it is. I like that saying.
Well, and I'm gonna put up on the screen here because I am not a fan of it is what it is. So I have this statement, and I know what you're saying, but I have this. It says it is what it is, but it will become what you make of it.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of it all.
Well, I don't say the second part of it, but that's what I mean.
Oh yeah, no, and I know that because you and I are cut from the same cloth, Rob. And at this point, people have asked if you had eligibility. I know that I have 4 years of eligibility, but I mean, I don't know what we would do, behind, kind of everything that's going on with this offense. And somebody said to me, they're like, Dan, you should go. Yeah, I trust you to. You should go out there. And I said, my mama loves me too much. I said, I can't be behind the line right now the way things are going. But it's hard, and I know the guys are frustrated. And individually, if you pull them aside, I know that they are. And it's just really unfortunate to see something and to see this go 0-2 and the way that they've lost these 2 winnable games against 2 reputable teams that are both ranked in the top 25. It's just, I mean, this is a team that could lose to Liberty, and that's just, and it's no offense to the Liberty Flames. It's just, this is not where Syracuse football is supposed to be. And it's offensive, and it's offensive literally on the field, the offense problems, and it's offensive, in the fact of what people have to see. And more than anything else, to close out the alumni is one of the most, it's one of the craziest things I've ever heard in your life. It's like having a hair care product that helps you grow your hair back and not having anyone who's used the product successfully talk about it. So, I mean, you would think the people that are successful with the product should be the only ones talking about it, but nobody's asking y'all to come back, so.
Yep. Well, he made his bed. He has to lay in it.
That coming from Rob Drummond. Well, Rob and I sleep sweetly, so right. I sleep real good. I didn't want to get out of bed this morning. I was real comfy, but.
Yeah, you and me both.
That coming from Rob Drummond. Rob, you and I have a lot more to come, and God willing, you and I will have decades to come of great stuff, so. Thank you, as always, for being my brother and my friend, and I love you, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
All right, Dan, you also, bro.
All right, take care.
Later.
That coming from Rob Drummond here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we will be joined by the second part of our running back DuoCast, and that is Mo Neal. Right after this, Mo Neal joins the show inside of MaandPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Use the online promo code online, MaandPazPopcorn.com. Promo code DT20, get 20% off. We'll be back from the Cafe Kubal Studios right after this.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavocolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avocolis, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9 Campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate you hanging out with us here where sports truly meets life. And, of course, we're on Facebook Live as well, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal here for you for home delivery, and if you live in Onondaga County, you do not pay a delivery fee. So if you want it delivered to you, you're staying at home, working from home, whatever it may be, and you can have them send it right to you. Maybe, you're not feeling well, or you're practicing proper social distancing your way. You can have it sent off to your house. A mobile cafe will come to your community as well as to your place of business. And, of course, they have their 5 neighborhood cafes, including their newest one on 208 North Townsend Street in Syracuse, called the Holly Green Cafe. So make sure you find your way out to Cafe Kubal or have them come to you. All the information's on Cafe Kubal. That's KUBAL.com. And, of course, you can find it on the Central New York tab by clicking on Cafe Kubal on that Central New York tab on WakeUpCallDT.com. With that being said, inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have our second part of our running back DuoCast this morning, and that is a friend of mine and somebody that I've appreciated throughout his recruitment from down in Gastonia, North Carolina, all the way to Syracuse, and now pushing toward the NFL, and that is my friend Neal, who was here for Syracuse for a bunch of seasons and is now moving forward in his career and whatnot. Have all the respect in the world for this young man, and I am more than happy to welcome him back to the show. So let's bring him on, and let's hear what he has to say about everything that's going on. Neal, how are we doing today?
Doing good, Dan. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. And Mo, first and foremost, I got to ask you, how's the family doing? How's everybody? How's Miss Tracy doing? How is Shelly doing? How's the family holding up?
They're doing good. Just taking it a day at a time. Just trying to stay afloat. Just staying positive and like I said, just living a day at a time, man, and staying strong.
And how's the rest of the family? I know that when they came to one of your games this past season, I was hugging everybody, and somebody in the family, I forget. But they were like, "What? I don't get a hug?" And I was like, "I got to hug all the Neals." So we got to get rid of Corona so I could give some Neal hugs here. But I miss so much your dad's facial expressions, especially if something didn't go exactly right. He'd just look at me and he'd go, "Come on, man." I'm missing my Neal family days, and I'm missing my Shelly Mo faces. So how's the family's doing? Good though?
Yes, sir. Everybody's doing good, man. Like I say, just trying to stay positive through all this, COVID and everything going on. And obviously, with me, pushing for the NFL still, we're just staying positive and, taking it a day at a time.
Coming here this morning from Neal, the second part of our running back DuoCast. Mo, you are, this team, you were with them just a few steps ago. This is something that is not not anything that's new to you as far as knowing these players and seeing your teammates go through the first part of this season and the way that things have been going on. What's been your assessment of these first 2 games? Because there's a lot of dogs on this team. There's a lot of fighters on this team, and I can imagine that they're frustrated. I can imagine you are as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of great players on that team. Looking at the first two games, I see a lot of new faces as well. That a lot of freshmen that are on the field, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that are making plays. So I know it's a very talented team. Obviously, it's always frustrating when you can't get the win, and things. I'm pretty sure people outside looking in, you don't understand all that went wrong. It's the little things. So, when you go back and watch film, which I'm pretty sure, they doing and they look at the little mistakes that could play a big role in the outcome, it's very frustrating. But it's definitely a talented team. I can see that. And, you just got to get things rolling. And that's how I go, playing in a tough conference like the ACC. And with how things are shaped up this year, majority of the games are ACC games, so you gotta bring it every weekend. So, I got faith there. Turn things around. Like I said, it's a talented team. So I just can't wait to. I've been having fun watching them, man. Obviously, it's different. It's different from watching through the TV, though.
Yeah.
Like you said, just last year I was out there playing with most of those guys, and it's kind of weird now seeing them on TV, but I'm always cheering them on and hoping for the best.
Yeah, we're looking at some of this talent here that's had a lot of success. I mean, look at the defensive side. You obviously, when you were at Syracuse, had defensive lineman McKinley Williams, D-back Fatu Melifonwu, D-back Cho Williams, D-back Andre Cisco, D-lineman Kingsley Jonathan, a linebacker Mikael Jones, and so on and so forth. I mean, this defense, and Steve Linton was there as a redshirt freshman. He's out there doing his thing at linebacker. When you look at the defensive side of the ball, what can you tell me about what you've seen on defensive back Eric Coley and so on and so forth? What are you seeing from these guys that you played up against in practice? What are they showing? Josh Black, another guy in the defensive line. What are they showing you in these games that, even though Syracuse is 0-2, these defensive teammates that you had, what have they shown you so far this season?
Great effort, man, on every play. I feel like just getting after it. I really didn't get to watch the North Carolina game like I wanted to. I was actually in California at the time, and it was difficult trying to watch the game. It was early, I was out running around, but I saw bits and pieces. But just seeing the game and watching the whole game this past weekend against Pitt, just seeing those guys fly around, man, and make plays, and just constantly, giving the offense a chance, and that's all you can ask for from the defense, man. Keep you in the game, especially going against a good offense like Pitt. Pitt always, over the years, since I've been there, Pitt always had a solid offense. Obviously, their run game has always been good. They always keep a good couple running backs, and their play action pass can get you as well. So, they played great. I feel like they kept the game close, for as long as they could, and gave our offense plenty of opportunities. And guys, like I said, I've seen a lot of young guys step up, whether they're redshirt freshmen or true freshmen. So it's a lot of young cats are stepping up, and obviously the veterans are playing good as well. Cisco, Josh Black, Katrina Williams, McKinley Williams. So it's good to see.
Mo, how frustrated? You were in the locker room last season. I mean, this is fresh for you still. What do you imagine the locker room to be? Because I know this is a team, I know it's a unit, but when the defense gives so many opportunities to the offense and the offense does nothing with them, 1 touchdown in 8 quarters, I would imagine that there's guys in the locker room that are frustrated and maybe saying some stuff. What can you say to that? When the offense is doing their thing and the defense isn't, or the defense is and the offense isn't, or special teams and whatnot, is what happens in the locker room? And, are those kind of like heated conversations that eventually become working together? I mean, what can you tell me about that? Because I can only imagine that there's, frustration and emotions in the locker room when the defense has plenty of takeaways and the team is still 0-2.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's tough. I feel like you're always going to have, guys that are frustrated, especially with the opposite side. If the opposite side is, I guess you could say doing better than the other side, it's always going to be frustrating. But at the end of the day, it's a team game, man, and everybody got to be in sync, from special teams to defense to offense. All three units have to play a big role in winning the game. Over the years when I was there, we had similar situations where the defense would give us, a lot of opportunities, and offense we wouldn't capitalize sometimes. But it's just, they got to come together. At a time like this, you have to come together, especially with circumstances. It's no fans really. You're around the team all the time now. Especially with, I guess, the rules and stuff, and it's just, you got to buy in. You got to buy into the system. You got to come together as a team. Leaders, have to lead, step up, and make sure the team doesn't, fall apart and, start, fights and, just stuff like that, blaming one another. That's the key. You just gotta stay together and building. And the offense always comes alive. I feel like, since I've been there, I feel like the offense has always kind of started, a little shaky, and it gets better as the year goes on.
Yeah, just looking at this, though, I mean, it's got to be frustrating for, your former teammates and current players on the team on that defensive side of the ball to create so many opportunities. Andre Cisco to be the active leader in the FBS Division 1A with career interceptions. He has 13. For Mikel Jones to not have an interception going into this season, and granted he's only a sophomore, but got an interception in his first game this season, got a second one in the second game. Josh Black, Kingsley Jonathan, attacking and harassing. Trill Williams shutting down. They're, shutting down guys out there. There's a lot of good that's been happening on this defense, and I can only imagine what that must feel like and how debilitating that is. And I do want to say something else about the defense. I mean, the game ends up 31-6, lost to North Carolina, 21-10 in a loss to Pittsburgh. I don't blame the defense for either one of these games, because when you're on the field, the longer you're on the field, eventually, I mean, look at it. When do they give this up? I mean, they gave up one touchdown in the second half. The game was 7-6, 10-6 North Carolina for the majority of the game until the fourth quarter. And I think, when you're on the field the majority of the time, eventually the defense is going to be a little fatigued, and, there's going to be some plays that are given up. I see it at the pro level. I see it at the collegiate level. I'm sure you see it at every level. So I don't know how you feel about this, Mo, but I don't blame the defense at all for these first two games, because I think that a lot of the points came, just feeling deflated at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I mean, I agree. It's tough, when you can only hold the offense down for so long. And the first two games they played two, in my opinion, two of the best offenses in the ACC. So it definitely hurts. Like you said, you're making so many plays out there, keeping the team in the game, and sometimes you like you say, you get deflated, and at the end of the day, those guys on the opposite side of the ball that they're playing against, those are scholarship guys as well too, and they're good guys, and like I said, they two teams that I played are ranked coming into the season, so it's hard. It's playing at the Division 1 ACC level. It's gonna be tough to you can go out and say we're gonna hold the team to 3 to 6 points the whole game. It's easier said than done, because these are great athletes that you're playing against. Guys that's gonna be playing on Sundays and stuff like that. So man, it's very tough. So you always want to capitalize and take advantage of the opportunities when they're there. But at the end of the day, for me, also being in their shoes and inside the locker room, I know the defense still holds accountability to themselves, because a lot of opportunities in both games. But at the same time, like I say, you just gotta, don't point the fingers. Just come in and buy in and just stay together as a family, man. And that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, coming from Neal here, Syracuse Orange running back alum, played on the team all the way up to last season inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, giving his thoughts. Mo, this season, a very unique season with Corona. Thankfully for yourself and the Jerome Smiths and the Prince Tyson Gullies and so on and so forth of running back history, as well as Syracuse players in general, didn't have to deal with a season like this. But, other players did. And two guys that were with you in the backfield, Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, both decided to opt out. What are your thoughts on that? Syracuse lost backup defensive lineman Cooper Dawson, who, a lot of fans really don't know what he can do, college football-wise. He was the first one to opt out, and he's kind of a question mark as to, when he opted out, people are like, oh, okay, well, we don't really know what we're losing. But with Abdul Adams coming off and Jarvion Howard coming off, you're losing two talented backs. What was your thought when you saw that these two guys that not only are talented in the backfield, but these are two of your teammates and guys that you shared the backfield with when they decided to opt out this year?
Man, it was at first, it was shocking to me. I'm pretty sure it shocked a lot of people. And I know it kind of hurt the team as well. Like you said, those two talented guys, man, and it definitely hurts when you lose two caliber players like that. Those guys are great, and I know they would have definitely contributed a lot this year. So it hurts, but at the same time, you have to respect their decision. Just you move on. The next guys got to step up. Like you said, those guys felt like put themselves or their family, in I guess harm's way, participating this year. And like you say, you just got to respect the decision. And I know a lot of guys over the country, a lot of top players have set out and probably hurt their team, but at the same time, man, it's you gotta worry about yourself, and and like I say, the next man has to step up. That's football. That's why you recruit. You recruit the next man to come in and be just as good as your starters, and I have faith in the running backs that are playing. They're good as well too. So once those guys get going, I think they're gonna be all right.
Mo, did you talk to Abdul or Jarvion at all after they made their decision? Did you catch up with them and just make sure that they're doing okay?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. I actually I got a good relationship with both of them, and I actually talked to both of them before they even came out publicly with the decision. I guess being that brother, just sitting down talking with them, they asking me, how I felt about it, and like I said, I just kept it real with them, and told them ultimately, you got to do what's best for you, and that all it comes down to. At the end of the day, this football is just a game, man. You can't please nobody, whether it's coaches, fans, or whatever. Do what's best for you in your heart, and you live with that decision, and you go with it, and don't look back. So, those definitely great friend of mine. Gonna be a great friend of mine, great brothers. Till we call it quits.
Did you feel that they were kind of just torn back and forth with something like this? What did they say? Because Abdul, obviously I've talked to him here on the show, and he's a hardworking guy, and Jarvion has been doing his thing and doing what he can to be successful, and I've had him on the show and appreciate him. I appreciate and respect all the guys, and so I can imagine that it was difficult. What did they say to you about it, and did they really come to you and say, Mo, like, what would you do? You know what I mean? Like, how deep did they get into it, and were they torn, or was it kind of just, you know what, I don't want to risk it?
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult decision, man. I know they thought talked over with their families and all, man. It was difficult, especially something like that. And, those guys are very hardworking guys, man. So, and, they love the game of football. They love it with a passion, so whenever you get to, try to make a decision like that, it's never easy. Especially because of all the hard work you done put in, and, especially, the adversity of Abdul Adams, came through, a transfer from Oklahoma, injuries and stuff like that. And, I know he was really hungry for this year to, step out there and, for his last year to be the man and do his thing, man. So I know it was definitely a tough decision for him. Obviously, as well as Jarvion, another hard-working guy, man, and he's been working hard since day one, since he stepped foot on campus. It shows, he's been playing ever since true freshman year. So, as well, another guy that was expecting to have a big year, man, and, so it was tough. I know it was tough for those guys, but, I said my piece and gave my advice, and, I know those guys appreciated it, and I also appreciated them. Feel like they could, come talk to me about something like that. It meant a lot to me. It shows the type of relationship that we have, and that we're always gonna be there for each other, no matter what. And so like I say, I'm behind those guys 100% with their decision. And like I say, you just have to live with what you do. Like I say, it's your life. You can't please anybody, man. So that's how it goes. And for Syracuse, like I say, it's just the next man up. Step up. It's your time to shine. When stuff like this happens, it's what you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
So it's time to step up. Yes, sir.
For speaking here with Neal, a Syracuse Orange running back alum on the team all the way up to last season. Well, like you said your piece to Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, and they'll be brothers for life. And you'll always be connected with one another and have that bond and that relationship. To go a little bit deeper into it, what was your advice, having gone through, college football, having gone through, you didn't go through anything like Corona, but, going through everything and making decisions and knowing that you can't please everybody. What was your advice to both of these guys?
Yeah, just, that, y'all are, young men now. We're all young men now, man, and you come to a point in life where, we have to make difficult decisions. There's no more mom and dad being there, so I told him, man, you take everything into consideration. Just think about it hard, and I say do what's best for you, what you feel in your heart. You pray on it, talk to God, and ask Him to guide you, and you go from there. And like I said, you live with your decision. Don't have no regrets. Don't look back. And you just take it from there. You take it a day at a time, and and I told him I'm always gonna be in their corner. I'm 100% behind you with whatever you do, and I made sure that was said loud and clear. Not that didn't want them to think I would feel some type of way, or they didn't play, or they did play. So I told them, man, I'm your brother. I'm here. I'm behind you, support 100%. So it's kind of the things I said to him.
And we look at this, Mo, and my feeling, and these guys well, better than I do, and I don't know what it is, but there's some sense of maybe this is the last we've seen Jarvion at Syracuse. Maybe this is the last we've seen Abdul at Syracuse. I that's a feeling that kind of comes up with me. The transfer portal. This season's a unique season. You get your, you're obviously not losing a season if you have this. Could you see something like that happening? And I know that you're going to be with them and ride till the wheels fall off, no matter what they decide. But, I have a sense that maybe this is the last time we've seen both of these guys, which would be sad for Syracuse. And ultimately, I want them to know, as I wanted you to know, no matter where you go, you got my love and support, because I care about the person more than anything else. And I just want you to be successful and be able to put your head on a pillow at night and be able to sleep. But there's something to, not a but to me, honestly, there's something to be said about I don't know. I think there's more to this, and I think maybe they won't be in orange next season.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't want to get into speculating what will happen, if it will be the last time they'll be in the orange jersey. Because, like I said, ultimately it's their decision, and I don't know how they feel about it. I'm pretty sure, once time come closer, I'll be getting some more calls and talking about another situation, man. And but until then, I don't know. I have no clue. Will it be the last time? Like I said, it's ultimately their decision and how they're feeling about it, and we'll see. Obviously, being a Syracuse alumni now, I would love to see them in orange again, but at the end of the day, it's their decision, and they're my brothers, man. So they definitely have my love and support with whatever happens from here on out.
Well, Mo, I could tell you that as you push towards your NFL career, you should also be an NFL agent, and maybe you should, if these guys are calling you and trusting you, maybe you should rep them while you're repping yourself as well. I mean, make money on both ends of it. Play on the field and help out these guys.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So, Mo Neal here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Mo, Tommy DeVito was your quarterback. What can you say about this? I mean, obviously the offensive line is credited with being a reason for some of these sacks. Some of it is decision-making with Tommy DeVito. To me, it seems like a mental side. Rob Drummond, who played your running back for Syracuse as well, was here right before you, and he talked about mental. It could be a confidence issue, just a mental thing, vision, seeing stuff. It's not that Tommy's not talented. It's not that he can't get the ball out. It's not that he doesn't have arm strength. It's not that he can't run when he needs to sometimes, so he doesn't have an ability. But it just seems like, I don't know if it's comfort level or just overall confidence in this and whatnot. But I also see him more of a pro-style quarterback. He's not Eric Dungy. They're different guys. It's no knock on him. It's no knock on Dungy. Dungy's and Orange is the new fast. I think, Tommy is a systematic, pro-style setup, take time, get in the huddle, hand the ball off, use the clock. I mean, do you see that? Is it maybe that Tommy's in an offense that doesn't really suit his talents? Because I know that there's a lot of frustration, but at the same time, I don't think that he's not talented. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, we definitely know talent is not an issue when it comes to Tommy. Ever since, he stepped foot on campus, he's shown the ability to be able to throw the ball with accuracy. So, it's definitely not talented. I mean, nothing to do with talent. He's definitely has great talent. And he has a good group of talented players around him as well too. And I guess you can say, looking at the games, maybe it's a comfort level. Mentally, things happen in the game, man. A lot, like I said, it's a lot that goes on. So it's tough to pinpoint of what exactly is the issue. Obviously the offensive line is, it gets better. They get better as they go. Obviously, there have been a few key missed blocks that I've seen against Pitt. Not enough time to, go through his reads and stuff like that, and and I know I've seen a couple of those in the Carolina game that was kind of miscommunication or not on the same page as a receiver. So, I mean, me looking at it, I guess it's a comfort level. You just have to get comfortable. He has to relax back there, man, and trusting his play, trusting his guys, and everybody just gotta, build around him. And I also do agree with what you said too. With maybe it is the offense because he is not he's not Eric Dungy, and like you said, not knocking either one. They're just two different quarterbacks. And you have to adapt. You have to adapt to your quarterback. That's just like with the Patriots situation. Cam Newton is not a Tom Brady. So, we've seen the first two games already that how Belichick and offense coordinator then adapted to, Cam's play style. So, it's all that comes hand in hand, man. And, like you said, talented. I mean, Tommy is a talented player, great player. great player, great kid off the field. You know, he loves everybody. Everybody gets along with him. So, you know, it's frustrating to see when things are not going well. But if there's anybody that can, you know, get things on track and stay positive, it's him. So, you know, I know he's doing everything in his power to, you know, be in that film room to study, to, you know, talk with his receivers, backs, O-line, and try to fix things and, you know, get things going in the right direction.
Speaking here with Neal, Syracuse Orange running back alum here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning, and obviously inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You know, for you, Mo, like you said, comfortability, you can see that too, and you can see, you know, maybe it's the offense. They bring in a new defensive coordinator, Tony White, and they switch to a 3-3-5. They bring in a new offensive coordinator in Sterling Gilbert, and it looks like the same offensive struggles that happened last year when you were on the team. Are you surprised that they haven't looked at Tommy and said, you know what, let's slow it down, let's pro style this thing a little bit, let's play to his strengths? Because I feel like him in a normal pro style set, you know, you got your back next to you. Maybe you don't go split back right now because you're trying to figure out who your guy is, but you put your running back there, you know, and then you know, you put him in a shotgun situation. You put 3 or 4 out wide, and you let him go, and you let him kind of survey the field, and you utilize the tight ends because they have talent with Luke Benson and Aaron Hackett, as you know. I mean, would you like to see them, since they've switched the defense, that maybe Dino just kind of gets out of his own way and says, listen, Tommy's going to be better served in a shotgun. He's going to be better served in pro style. You know, he's going to be better served with play. I mean, we've seen that, you know, play fakes and whatnot when he was at Don Bosco helped him out. I mean, to play to his strengths, and really maybe Dino would be best served sitting down Tommy and saying, what do you need from me? And figuring that out. I mean, if they've already switched the defense, why not look at it offensively? Because I just get this feeling that they're trying to make Tommy be something that he's not. And if they just let Tommy be what he is and put him in a pro-style situation, I think we're going to see this team move the ball down the field a little bit better. I mean, that's my opinion from watching football, but you played with the guy. I mean, it seems like it would make sense.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, not knocking Tommy, not like he can't prevail in the offense, and because he's shown success. He's shown success in the offense. But obviously, you know, like you said, just going back, you know, as far as like the design, you know, quarterback runs and stuff like that, you know, that's not really his game. You know, and he can, so he surprised a lot of people with his speed because Tommy can move. You know, Tommy's quick, he's fast, and that's what a lot of people really don't realize. But as far as just that instinct, just to run the ball, and you know, that's just not him. You know, he would rather, you know, pass it. He would rather, you know, hit his check downs instead of, you know, pulling off running the ball. And he want to show off his arm strength and his accuracy, which he does have. And yeah, I feel like you know, it would be nice to see. But obviously, you know, like I said, we know Coach Papers. You know, he loves that. He loves the offense. He loves the fast pace. And it gets teams off balance. And you know, it's a good. And when it's working, you know, it's a hard offense, man. It's a hard offense to stop. You know, and you know, we over the years I've been there, we've killed teams in it. You know, and made them look bad. You know, so it's a great offense when it's working. And I just feel like they just gotta, you know, get to the drawing boards and, you know, correct the little things because, you know, looking at the film, like I said, it's easy for us to point out stuff, you know, just seeing like, oh man, the offensive line didn't block right there, or like Tommy overthrew the receiver. You know, it's easy to say stuff like that, man, but it's definitely more in depth than that. You know, it takes all 11 to make a play work, and one little small mistake that we might not see in TV.
Yeah.
We overlook that and look at the bigger picture. But yeah, it's frustrating to see, you know, offense, you know, struggle, man, and especially being an offensive guy, you know, it's tough. You know, I want to see that offense go and put up, you know, as many points as possible. And I have faith that they will. You know, they just have to relax and do what they do. So like I said, it's frustrating, but I feel like they'll come together, man. And I know Tommy, he's a great kid, and like I say, if anybody wants to, bring the team together and look for things to get better at, it'll be him.
Well, we had a question that came in, and I think it's a good one to ask coming off of talking about the speed of the offense and the ability for you guys to, drown teams with it at times. The question was, what do you think, Mo, of the speed that Syracuse had versus the rest of the ACC, having played in the ACC and seeing, obviously you watch from the sideline the speed of their offenses, but, the speed of the defense against you when you're trying to go fast and whatnot. What can you say about, the speed of Syracuse versus the opposition that you had in the ACC?
This year or when I was playing?
When you were playing.
Oh, when I was playing? Yeah, it was obviously playing top teams. When you play a defense like that that is well coached and fast. In the ACC, man, it's pretty majority of most of the defenses are like that. They got guys that can run at all three levels, whether it's D-line, the linebacker, or secondary, and the fact that the offense is done, it helps because you get
Oh, Mo, we lost you. We lost you for a second there. What did you say? You cut out for a second. You were talking about the offense there, and we lost you. What were you saying?
I was saying, I don't know if y'all heard. I was talking about how the defense that we had, linebackers are the secondary, and when you're going fast, when we're going fast, man, it helps us. It helps us a lot because you get those guys, misaligned and not aligned right. It causes you to crease people and and be able to get those big plays. Obviously, when you slow stuff down, it gives those guys a chance to get rested and set up and be able to do what they do. So it's definitely been. It has its pros and its cons. Obviously going fast also could mess us up as well. Whether over the years you've seen like a lot of penalties with us trying to go fast. Whether we offensive linemen are not set or we jumping off sides. So it's definitely its pros and cons when you're going against talented defenses like that in the ACC.
Yeah, coming from Mo Neal here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Mo, before I let you go here, just to look at the current state of things at the end of this past game, Dino Babers, 3 timeouts, 3 minutes and 3 seconds left. This was your coach. This is a guy that, you were recruited by Schaefer and his staff, and most notably DeAndre Smith, the former running backs coach that's now at Texas Tech. And but you only played for Dino Babers and his staff. When all was said and done, Dino kept 4 of the 22 verbal commits, and you being one of them, as well as Scoop Bradshaw, Rex Culpepper, and the offensive line, Sam as well stayed on with you guys. And so, outside of that, everything else was Sam Heckel. Outside of that, everybody else was different. So for you, when you look at this, this was your coach. You had him for 4 years. 3 minutes and 3 seconds left. He doesn't call a timeout. He's got 3 timeouts. The team's down by 11. The game is still within reach. The defense has been doing a lot of great things. We know Andre Schmidt can make his field goals more often than not. What are your thoughts watching your former coach not call a timeout with over 3 minutes to go and Pittsburgh's in a 3rd down situation? What did you think?
I guess with us, looking at the game, we're like, why are you not calling timeout? It almost seems like they're giving up. But I don't know. It's hard for me to believe. I know, Coach Babers, his passion for winning and he has his ways that, that the outside people looking in just don't understand. And that's just how he is. And I'm pretty sure, he was thinking of something. I don't know, maybe we could, save these three timeouts and use them, for our next offensive possession, or wait, later in the game to use them. I don't know what his thought process was, but it's, I don't know. I mean, I guess it hurts to see that. It's tough to see because you're like, man, why you don't use one of those timeouts, at that particular time. But obviously, I felt like he and the staff, thought that maybe they didn't need it they didn't need to use it at that moment, or what. It's hard to tell. Like I said, us, outside looking in, we could talk all day and run our brain crazy till we know why they did what they did. But it's I guess that's why they get paid the big bucks, to get in that situation.
Absolutely. That coming from Mo Neal here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Final note, Mo, Jawar Jordan Jr. Was your teammate last year. He's currently leading the team with 27 attempts in 2 games for 66 yards. Does not have a touchdown yet, but is leading the team. Sean Tucker, a freshman, has gotten out there. Markenzie Pierre, another one of your teammates, has had a few attempts, 6 of them for 12 yards so far this season. What is your advice to Jawar Jordan Jr., Sean Tucker, and Markenzie Pierre?
Just stay patient, man. Those big runs are going to come. This should be an inside thing, if they do hitters. But just trust that gapping unit, man, and they know what I'm talking about when I say that. But just trust that gapping unit, and just stay patient. Those big runs are going to come, and I know how frustrating it is. I've been there, but success is going to come, man. Just stay patient. Don't try to do nothing, out this world. Stay true to you. Stay true to your game. Just trust it. Just trust it, and it's going to come. And those big plays are going to start happening, and that would be my advice to those guys.
If Rex Culpepper is to become the starter, even if it's for a little bit of time, you saw Rex go through something that nobody should have to go through, which is fighting cancer.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say? Now, Dino said there's packages for Rex, so Rex is meant to be out there no matter what. But what can you say about Rex Culpepper and the fighter that he is, and if he is to be given the opportunity, what that means? One of the 4 guys, like I said, that was kept from Schaefer's verbal commits when Dino came in. One of the 4 guys that was kept on it. I went down and saw him at HB Plant in Tampa. Saw him and his brother Judge, and I've had a good relationship with Rex all the way through. I love the guy, and I want nothing but success for him and Tommy and everybody. If Rex was to get more time on the field, what do you want to say about Rex?
Rex is a fighter, man. Obviously, we know that because, like you said, the battle with cancer, man. He did it. He did it. It's hard to describe, man. Being in that situation, it's hard to deal with. I can only imagine, fighting cancer at such a young age and being able to prevail and come back strong and to be able to play football again. It's crazy. So when you get a guy like that that's done been through something like that, man, it's crazy. And I feel like he brings that fire to the team that he's fought a different battle, and not a lot of people can relate. But at the same time, when you see a person that's been through something like that, you want to play for that person, and you want to be. You don't want to make any excuses because he didn't make any excuses. Rex didn't feel sorry for himself one bit. And he trusted in God's plan, and he went with it. So he's definitely a great player, a great person. We were roommates when we first enrolled early. So he's definitely a great guy, man. And when he gets in the game, you can just see the fiery, the competitive guy that he is. And he plays with that each play. take anything for granted, and he leaves it all out there on the field. So, if he was to be the starter or, however they do that, I feel like he's going to be fine. He's already had some experience starting, his redshirt sophomore year, when we went down, Dungy and Mahoney went down, he got those starts those last couple games of the season. So he has experience. He's been there for a while. He's a veteran guy, and I feel like the offense will be good with him in there. So it's whatever decision they make, man, is definitely a tough one. I know because, like you say, Tommy is definitely talented as well, and I know they have packages for Rex. So if they can build on with both of them, it'd be good to see.
That coming from Mo Neal here, Syracuse Orange football alum, and want to let everybody know that you should definitely continue to send your prayers out and positives and well wishes to Mo Neal and to the family as Mo continues his quest toward the NFL. And with the NFL taking a look at him and with injuries happening, very important for us to know that at any given time it is that next man up approach, and there could be an opportunity out there very soon for Mo Neal. And Mo, I pray and hope more than anything else that opportunity does come your way. Couldn't have happened to a better person. And when it does happen, that I will be more than proud of you. And I told you, as soon as that NFL jersey comes in, I'm putting one up here in the studio with Mo Neal on it. So, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you, and it's always love on this side of it. So I pray and I hope your dreams come true, and that you keep fighting. And I thank you so much today for being so candid and so open about your opinions and your thoughts about your team that you love and appreciate. And, more than anything else, I'm just proud to have you as a friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dan. I greatly appreciate that. And like I said before, I greatly appreciate the friendship that we built over the years, that you have built with me and my family. So, it's always great to be on the show, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, coming from Mo Neal. Mo, I'll talk to you soon. Give my best to the family, okay?
Yes, sir. Will do. Take care.
Take care. That coming from Mo Neal once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. With all of that being said, we'll take our final step aside of today's broadcast to wrap up today's running back DuoCast.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Pickleball Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cubal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you find your way out to the Millhouse Market. But before you do that, download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store. It'll have their entire menu of every single item that they have there for you to get. And the great thing about the Millhouse Market is that this menu has so many flavors and combinations that you probably never even think of, and you don't even know that these would be your favorites until you try them. And everything from their healthy bowls, their quinoa bowls and their grain bowls and miso soba bowls and so on and so forth, to their salads and their pizzas that they have in the brick oven, all of their sandwiches that they offer to you, and each of the sandwiches named after a family that helped to settle which is today's Pulaski. So not only great combinations and great creations, but also a connection to the community, a connection to Pulaski, a connection to everything that is, with this town, the positivity of the town and the positivity of Central and Upstate New York, and just really ingraining themselves in the community and digging their roots deep there. Their homemade breads, their homemade desserts, it's fantastic. So when you're looking for a connection to the community, great flavors, a great price, and combinations you wouldn't even think of, and as far as I go, finding a new favorite every single week, it feels like, if not sooner than that. The Millhouse Market is a place for you to go to. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. You can pay with contactless pay on the app, and you can stay in your car, pick up the food at the drive-up window, and not even have to get out of the car to get what you need to get. So making it easy, keeping us safe, and giving us fantastic flavors. The Millhouse Market is absolutely worth the drive every time. With that being stated, I want to thank my two guests in the running back DuoCast inside of the Cafe Cubal studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on mixlr.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. A big shout out to Rob Drummond as well as Mo Neal for giving their thoughts on the current season, the state of the team, Dino Babers, the running backs, and so much more. And obviously my continued prayers and hopes that Mo Neal, by the grace of God, pleased to God, gets an opportunity in the NFL. And Rob, so thankful that he got his opportunity in the NFL and the CFL as well. MaandPazPopcorn.com. Use the online promo code DT20 to get 20% off all online orders, DT20. You can pick it up in the store or have it sent to you. But as long as you do it online, you get 20% off. So make sure you do it. And they bring you what's popping every single week. The running back DuoCast with Rob Drummond and Mo Neal inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. Want to let you know once again, every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, you're right here with us on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT to listen. Searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will get you our show archive. We just added a couple. We'll continue to add more on MixLR, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, the RSS feed, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, or Apple Casts, as well as YouTube, and plenty of videos on YouTube for you to watch. And we want to thank our Central and Upstate New York partners in helping to make this possible. Cafe Cubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Honda City of Liverpool, Avicoli's, where you use online promo code AVS10 for 10% off at myavicoli's.com, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn. Go to maandpazpopcorn.com and use the promo code DT20 for 20% off. of online orders, Canine Camp Dog Boarding, Campground Dog Boarding, Traverse Pizza Pub in the Millhouse Market, as well as our beverages of choice, Coca-Cola, as well as Reign and Monster Energy and Body Armor. I hope you all have a fantastic day and that we've started off this week in a fantastic way for you. So thank you so much for all that you had to say. We did get a message here that I want to read. Dan, it seems like we're getting out-recruited by most, if not all, ACC teams. We also seem to be out-coached. Pitt is a classic example of a program that left us in the dust. Temple is another program that's outside the ACC but seems to find talent in a city that has NFL teams to compete with in terms of press time and interest. Syracuse is unique in that we have a dome that allows for weather-free offense. We can't get the receivers. I just think we're missing too many guys. Jay, I think they're not recruiting locally. I agree with you because I've utilized the example of Temple. Syracuse changes their coach every 3 to 5 years. Temple changes theirs every 2 to 4, and Temple has continued to go to bowl games. So they're changing coaches just as frequently, if not more frequently, than Syracuse. But unlike Syracuse, they're having success from Steve Adazio to Matt Rule to Jeff Collins to Rod Carey. So that is a good example. Pittsburgh, left the same time Syracuse did, and they're finding success. And Pittsburgh's been able to recruit in the past, but it's Syracuse is missing the boat locally, and their scheming isn't good, and they're not sending guys to the NFL. What's the difference between Pitt and Syracuse? They send guys to the NFL at Pittsburgh. Syracuse does not, and it's not that the guys aren't talented. I think Andre Sisco is a first-round pick. Coming out of Syracuse, he's probably going to go 3rd or 4th round, but I think he should go in the top 7. That's just my opinion. I think anybody that needs a DB needs to look to Andre Sisco, but unfortunately, coming to Syracuse has hindered these guys, and I'm hoping that will not happen, but that comes down to coaching, and it comes down to scheming, and it comes down to continued success and building. How many teams are going to come to a program to look at players on teams that are not successful? That works against them, and it's unfortunate because Andre Sisco is a top talent, and there's other guys that should be getting looks in the NFL as well from Syracuse. So thank you for the point, Jay, and for bringing that up. I want to thank you all for watching and listening. You can find us on social media. You see it on the ticker underneath us here. Make sure you're always reading this ticker. It's got quality, awesome information to keep you connected. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, as well as WakeUpCallDT.com, where you'll find all of these beautiful companies we work with on the Central New York tab, and you can learn more about them, see our videos, read our articles, and get the archive for the shows, all in one place, all for free. Listen, watch, read, and enjoy on WakeUpCallDT.com. With all that being said, I hope you have, and Greg said, Greg said bad combo for the orange all the way around with some of the stuff that was brought up, and absolutely. So Syracuse hopefully can get on the better side of things, and some changes do need to be made, and we'll see what changes are made as we move forward here. Syracuse is home for 3 games in a row, and 4 of the next 5 they'll be at home. So some good stuff coming up for Syracuse. Hopefully being at home will be helpful to them, even though there won't be fans in the stands. And I hope you all have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you tomorrow, wall-to-wall with Ross Turetsky, a sports writer and broadcaster who is one of my closest and most dearest of friends. So I got 2 friends on the show today, a friend tomorrow. I love these beautiful, wonderful people I've met through doing what I love and just being in places that I love. So big shout out to Ross. We're going to talk about everything, including college football, baseball, the NBA, and so much more. So I very much look forward to that. And he'll be on the show tomorrow with the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avocolis. In the meantime, God bless, no stress, do your best. And make sure to check out my story on Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT, always adding new stuff. Have a great day, folks, and I'll talk with you soon. Be good.